Tonight, more healthcare concerns. Thousands of patients leave emergency rooms before being treated. Lucky to be alive. A motorcyclist taken to Dawson Creek Hospital. And verdict delivered. 5 former junior hockey players learned their fate. Well, good evening and thank you very much for joining us. And we begin tonight with another shocking example of BC's healthcare system in crisis. A Freedom of Information request showing thousands of patients across the Northern Health Region leaving emergency rooms without being treated. The report shows that 4,499 patients in Northern BC left an ER without receiving care over a 12-month period last year. That's an increase of 54% since 2019. Now, overall, emergency departments across the Northern Health Region saw almost 250,000 patients last year. Across the province, the report shows an increase of 86% in patients leaving without care over that same period. Now, the BC Conservative Party expressing frustration with BC's healthcare system. The official opposition saying the government is turning away thousands of patients when they're in moments of crisis. They're calling for immediate regional oversight and accountability measures to be put in place. Dawson Creek RCMP say a motorcyclist is lucky to be alive after an accident Wednesday afternoon. A driver was crossing Alaska Avenue from the Comfort Inn parking lot heading south. Police say a 61-year-old motorcyclist heading east hit the passenger side door of the vehicle. The Dawson Creek Fire Department was first on scene. The motorcyclist was taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Investigators say after reviewing CCTV footage, speed is not considered to be a factor. The police are considering charges under the Motor Vehicle Act, against who at this point remains unclear as Mounties continue their investigation. Last week, we reported that the Fort St. John RCMP opened an arson investigation after a barbershop on 100th Street was deliberately set on fire. Well, tonight, CJDC-TV has obtained exclusive video footage of the incident. The owners of the barbershop say they have gathered video evidence over the past 11 days. The security footage shows the white truck in question is at the scene as it appears to show someone lighting the fire. The vehicle is then spotted driving away from the scene as the shop is burning in the background. The truck then heads towards a second location a block away. Police said a window being broken at the Barbershop FSJ on 93rd Avenue. Owners of the Golden Hand Barbershop are asking for the public's help. They're now offering a $5,000 reward for any information that leads to an arrest. If you have any information, you're being asked to contact the Fort St. John RCMP. Well, here in northern BC near Dees Lake, about half a kilometer underground, 3 miners remain trapped behind a huge wall of debris. There's been no communication with the men, and it could be weeks before they're brought to safety. CTV's Regan Hasagawa has this update.
Deep inside the Red Chris mine, 3 trapped miners are waiting to be rescued.
It's very concerning for the families, for the workers in the sector, and all British Columbians and Canadians.
The 3 core drillers from BC, Manitoba, and Ontario are trained to work underground. They were more than 500 meters below the surface when rock above them gave way Tuesday. They managed to reach a refuge chamber just in time before a second collapse sealed the access tunnel behind them. Newmont, the company that owns the mine, says that area is stable and is designed to keep 16 people alive for weeks.
There's water, there's food, and there's compressed air feeding that refuge station. So with that, it's all the basics you need to sustain life.
The second collapse cut off all communication. Now, rescue crews are racing to restore contact.
Phone lines, if they have Wi-Fi, like it would take out those networks.
The blockage is massive, 20 to 30 meters of rock stacked up to 8 meters high. Crews are now using a remote-controlled scoop to dig through the debris without putting more lives at risk. Specialized drones are also being deployed deep underground to scan for structural weakness before anyone goes in.
A lot of things that have to be done in place to make sure that it is a safe and effective rescue.
The Red Chris is an open-pit gold and copper mine about 1,700 kilometers north of Vancouver. All production has now been shut down. Specialist rescue teams from other mine sites have been flown in. Every tool and every minute matters.
a lot of things that have to be done in place to make sure that it is a safe and effective rescue.
Officials say the rescue could take days or even weeks. And until crews break through or hear from the miners, there's no way to know for sure how they're doing.
All 5 former World Junior hockey players accused of sexual assault have been acquitted on all counts. A judge in London, Ontario spent several hours this morning outlining her ruling before finding the men not guilty. Adrian Gabriel has more on today's verdict.
The pressure-packed culmination of a historic 8-week criminal trial.
Definitely been emotional for everybody involved.
With the defendants arriving for decision day inside, the proceedings began with a recap of the evidence brought before the courts. Justice Maria Caracia opened by proclaiming that she didn't find the evidence of EM, the complainant, to be either credible or reliable.
There were videos that were put to her. There was testimony of other hockey players. She was heavily cross-examined on that to raise some doubt about her credibility.
During a brief break in today's proceedings before the verdicts were even delivered, the accused hockey players were seen smiling and hugging their lawyers and family members in the courtroom. While delivering her verdicts, Justice Caracia told the court that where EM had gaps in her memory, she filled them with assumptions. Going on to share that EM testified that while at Jack's Bar in London, Ontario, it was the players who bought her drinks all night, though video evidence shows EM purchasing multiple beverages herself. Previously, EM told the courts that on the night of June 18, 2018, she'd arrived at a downtown hotel with Michael McLeod where they had consensual sex. Afterwards, McLeod then sent this text message to teammates asking who wants to be in a, quote, three-way. Multiple teammates arrived at room 209. EM alleged that she was, quote, manipulated and intimidated into remaining inside this hotel room. Though in her findings, Justice Caracia shared that she couldn't find any of the players guilty of sexual assault beyond a reasonable doubt. Former World Junior Team Canada captain Dylan Dubé and teammates Cal Foote, Carter Hart, Michael McLeod, and Alex Fermenton have each been found not guilty of sexual assault. McLeod has also been found not guilty of being party to the offense.
We heard protesters scream for justice today. Has justice been served?
Yes, I think that's what everybody wants. Everybody wants to see justice served here, and Justice Caracia has done a thorough and careful analysis and delivered a just verdict, and so that's what we've seen here today.
As part of her reasons for her decision, Justice Caracia also added that she was satisfied that EM encouraged the men inside that hotel room to take part in the sexual acts and even became upset when they declined her invitation. Adrian Gabriel, CTV News, London, Ontario.
The lawyer for Freedom Convoy co-leader Tamara Leach says his client should receive an absolute discharge for offenses related to the protest. At a sentencing hearing today, Leach's lawyer says she and her co-accused Chris Barber tried to mitigate the protest's effects on downtown Ottawa, and he says Leach and Barber worked with police and city officials throughout the protest. He added his client has been under strict bail conditions for 3.5 years and has already spent 49 days in jail. Leach and Barber were both found guilty of mischief for their roles in the Convoy protest. The Crown is seeking a prison sentence of 7 years for Leach and 8 for Barber, who was found guilty on an additional charge. The goalpost for Canada to reach a trade deal with the United States seems to be shifting once again. The U.S. ambassador to Canada making recent comments implying the current August 1st deadline is not set in stone. CTV's Abigail Beeman has more.
Dominic LeBlanc wrapped up Washington meetings, including with Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, for now.
We're going to continue to work towards the August 1st deadline. We're going to be back here again next week. But all of these deadlines are with the understanding that we'll take the time necessary to get the best deal.
While this Republican senator is less optimistic about the timing.
I wish that I could say it feels good that this is all going to be taken care of before the 1st of August, but I'm not sensing that.
Still, Canada is stressing there's progress, the ambassador pointing to the Prime Minister's announcement targeting cheap foreign steel imports.
The measures that Canada has taken on steel, in particular, against anti-circumvention, are some of the strongest in the world. And that has been recognized and very much appreciated. So we're making some positive progress.
They say they're hurt and they were insulted, and it's kind of like, Well, it's not a whole lot of people or countries that we've asked to become the 51st state that I can remember.
Meanwhile, we're hearing more from U.S. Ambassador to Canada, Pete Hoekstra. CTV News obtained the full video of his comments at a summit where he made headlines for this.
Well, there are reasons why the president and some of his team refer to Canada as being mean and nasty to deal with.
He also weighed in on that August 1st deadline.
Whether it's August 1, I don't see it extending a lot past that. I'd be surprised if we were still talking about it on September 1.
Ambassador Hoekstra also said he's optimistic about the future, but there needs to be more advocates for the Canada-U.S. relationship. From his position, 90 days into the job, he says there aren't any. As he put it, there are political parties saying elbows up and relative quiet from the business community. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
Prime Minister Mark Carney met with Indigenous leaders in the Northwest Territories today. The big issue on the agenda, the government's major projects legislation.
I want to be clear up front that the Act fully respects treaty rights, including modern treaties.
The Prime Minister delivering strong assurances at the meeting of the Inuit Crown Partnership Committee at the One Canadian Economy Act. Carney revealing the government will be creating a major projects office and an Indigenous Advisory Council in order to consult on major projects. A new report says Canada could shed almost 60,000 federal public service jobs over the next 4 years. The report by the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives predicts tens of thousands of jobs will be cut. The cuts are expected at the Canada Revenue Agency, Employment and Social Development, and Immigration Canada. The report also says Ottawa and Gatineau in Quebec are likely to lose the most jobs, but that the cuts will impact service right across the country. The White House is pushing back after reports that U.S. President Donald Trump was told last May that he was among hundreds of names mentioned in documents related to the late convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein. The Wall Street Journal says the president was informed by Attorney General Pam Bondi during a routine briefing. It noted that appearing in the files was not a sign of any wrongdoing by Trump. In response, the White House official called the report fake news. The Trump administration has been under mounting pressure to release more information about Epstein, who was a friend of Donald Trump's. According to the president, the two had a falling out in 2004. The entertainment world is mourning the loss of jazz great Chuck Mangione. Well, the two-time Grammy winner was known for this 70s hit, Feels So Good. He played the flugelhorn and trumpet and released more than 30 albums over his incredible 60-year career. Mangione also had a recurring role on the animated sitcom King of the Hill, playing himself. His family says he died in his sleep at a home in Rochester, New York. Mangione was 84 years old. All right, please do stay tuned. I'll be right back after the break with weather.